Hey, well, good morning. Welcome, gamers, to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30 plus year video game enthusiast with a lot to talk about. I played a lot. I have a lot of context for a lot of things I talk about, and I like to talk about it. That's a lot of combination of good things to make this probably the best video game morning show that exists out there. I think so. I like to be positive. No, I'm joking. No, it's good morning. It's the first month. No, the first day of the month of the spooky season. For a lot of people, I think that's September 1st, but love Halloween. Um, I usually dress up. Last year, I was Alucard from Symphony of the Night. Year before, I was Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Since those 2 years, I've lost some more weight. So this year, I am doing Batman, and it's upstairs, but I got a really badass 1989 Batman cowl, and I didn't spend a lot on it, and actually someone made it, which is pretty cool. If you search on eBay, you'll find it. Like the handmade Batman 1989 cowls are really cool. And I had the cape I was using for my Alucard, works well, and it's such a big cape, it covers me. It's like, okay, do I need a rest of a costume? I'm getting the black paint to put around my eyes. But I love that stuff. Although I will say, like, even the last year, not the year before, but the last year, my youngest wasn't feeling good, so we didn't really go out and trick or treat. The year before we did, and I was Luke, and then there was a kid that was Darth Vader, and I had my lightsaber, and he did too, and we were like battling in the middle of the street. See, that stuff is fun. That is. But yeah, we're gonna get into it today. Hey, howdy, Chris. Good to see you. Always good to see you here. We got a couple topics to discuss. News hasn't been too interesting. It's really been a lot of downer stuff. And I even feel like I start my show and it's like I'm looking it's like downer news, like layoffs or this got canceled or people complain that this is happening. It's like, man, I kind of want to move away from that if I can. I think it's worth sometimes talking about these subjects, and sometimes it's interesting and we can learn from them, but I want to straddle that line to kind of be more informative and positive. We'll start with what I've been playing. So yesterday, I didn't really play too much. I just played one game yesterday, but I actually beat it. It was Castlevania Dawn's Collection, the Dawn of Sorrow. This is my first time playing Dawn of Sorrow, and I mentioned this since the original release on the DS. And it's interesting because they changed up, the glyph system, because normally you would have to like, draw the glyphs. And I remember sometimes I'd mess that up because you got to like do it in a certain order. So even in this game, they changed it to where it's button prompts, but you got to memorize which thing is a button. And so I had to like write it down. But then I realized something that even further makes this Dominus collection Game of the Year worthy. It cements Konami as they are a good company. This game added a feature for the glyph system where, and they kind of had it in the other one to draw, but the fact that they changed it to have the button presses, so you could sit there and practice pressing the buttons to memorize it. Because the hardest part of Dawn of Sorrow for me were the last two, not the last boss, but the two bosses before for the Magic Seal 5, that for some reason it was just never doing it. And then because it's like I get down to like the last of my health, I finally kill the boss, then I have to do the seal, I mess it up, then I have to fight the boss again, and then I die because I don't have any more health. And that was frustrating me. I think I spent more time on a single instance redoing those seals than any other part of the game. That's how crazy that was for me. And so what I was doing was I was writing it down on a paper. So then when the seal came up, I just looked down and went, okay, this, and it's all the buttons. It's LB, Y, A, X, B, LB, and you have to do them in certain orders. But I find out after the fact that they have a way to kind of train that in the game. So I appreciate that a whole lot. And I can't believe I missed that. I did it old school. I don't mind. But that's all I played. It was work. There's other stuff going on. But the GI Joe Wrath of Cobra. I didn't play that, but a patch came out this morning, and I was really disappointed because I hate it when a patch drops on Steam and the publisher slash developer doesn't like put the patch notes up. Because I'm curious, and maybe it's nothing. It could be as simple as just bug fixes. Well, okay, that's good to know because I did run into some bugs that I can anticipate, so maybe I don't have to worry about that now. Or if there's any quality of life improvements, etc. So I went to their Discord. Oh, okay. Well, the guy answered me actually live here. Wow, you're fast was just a hot fix for localization while we work on a big patch for a few things. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for the response. And I'm going to add enjoying the game. Okay. Well, that was very nice. Cool. You guys heard it first. This is the first place ever in the history of time and in the future. I think that's a contradictory statement that we got confirmation of what that patch did. So I said thank you. I got to switch it to thank you. Okay. Thank you for the response. Anyway, that was cool. So that is awesome. I was curious what the patch was. I went on their Discord, asked them. They responded live. That's pretty badass. Okay. Let's see. And then that was it. Yeah, I said that I'm gonna kind of wait on Star Wars Outlaws because of by November they're gonna have so many improvements made, and so I could play Space Marine 2 in the meantime. But let's I want to talk about something when it comes to. So this is kind of I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but Star Wars Outlaws has sold 1 million copies in a month. So apparently that's lower than expectations. But then I'm thinking, well, how many Ubisoft Plus subscribers do they have? Also, is this physical or digital? I don't actually. Do they have that up here? Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is because I'm curious if maybe there's that whole like doom. Oh no, it's not selling. It's like, hey, it's fine. Softer than expected. I mean, 1 million is still a lot. But that's the thing. In 30 days, Star Wars has sold just 1 million copies, and it's not expected that it'll shift many more. I don't know. I mean, 1 million seems like a good number considering the Ubisoft Plus. I don't know. I just hope I'm hoping this doesn't. It's so weird when this stuff happens. Like, with Star Wars Fallen Order, that's a fine game. Does it really feel like a Star Wars game? Not really. But it was a good enough game that then people wanted more of that. And I think it was the difference between the game mechanics, what made the game fun, and then it being a Star Wars game. It being a Star Wars game maybe help people play it, but the game itself is not a Star Wars-y feeling game. And maybe people might not agree with me on that. And this is just coming from someone who's been playing Star Wars games since, I don't know, okay. Was it Atari 2600? But anyway, like the Super Nintendo games were coming out, and then the Rebel Assault games, and then Dark Forces, and then Jedi Knight, and a lot of these had this strong Star Wars essence to it, and I felt like Fallen Order didn't really have that. Now I've heard Survivor's better, so I've heard it's better. That's what's funny. It's like people like Fallen Order, but people, the Survivor's a better game. And I guess I'm a little bitter because I like Star Wars, and I was disappointed with how Fallen Order turned out. Anyway, I'm just hoping more people see the light with Outlaw because I'm enjoying it. I would think other people would too. So I don't know. Okay. What else do we have here? Canceled games at Blizzard throughout the years. This is something I think we were talking about before, but Bloodlines was a space vampire game. A licensed Star Wars game that eventually led to StarCraft. That's very interesting because I also, unless that was Warcraft, they were trying to get the rights to Warcraft, or no, to Warhammer to make an RTS. They couldn't, so they made their own. So I guess that was the next step. It's so crazy when you see through the years, whether that's a company or an individual, when you have an idea and you reach out to someone and they're not crazy about it, and then you just become successful on your own in that direction or whatever, and then it's like, oh, we should have utilized them. Because there's people out there when they have pitches that they, there's something deep inside that really loves that property. And anyway, Shattered Nations, Diablo for the Game Boy, Starblow, a sci-fi Diablo. That's cool. I wouldn't have called it that. Nomad, post-apocalyptic turn-based game in development before World of Warcraft. And there's been more. Unless this, yeah, I was like, this is truncated because there's been more. Because there was that Warcraft Adventures Avalon Minecraft style Warcraft game. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Hades, original version of Diablo 4 with a third-person camera, Arkham style combat, dark tone, permanent. A lot of great ideas here. And I'm wondering, just thinking of the time frame, maybe some of these were, excuse me, were in development. Was this when there was a lot of like live service being pushed? So they're like, okay, this isn't live service. We're gonna cancel it. It tends to happen. So yeah, Jason Schreier has this new book coming out. And I feel bad because it's like I like his work, but he's been a bully. He has. And one time I said, "Hey man, that's mean," and he blocked me. So, and I didn't say anything mean to him. I was just saying, "You're this journalist with a lot of people that look up to you, look towards you, and when you're just blocking and then like talking down to people, I don't think that's good form." I don't know. I've in the past when I've given people feedback, they feel it's better just cancel me than to, I don't know, recognize it. It happens. Got a whole story about Bandai. I can't wait to share. Let's see. Going back. Let's see if we could jump into something else. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Oh no, I've seen something else. I didn't mean to see this. Unbelievable. Ubisoft race swapped for Yasuke. Shadows originally had a feature complete Japanese male protagonist. He was race swapped for Yasuke. Okay, so they're saying it's interesting because they're saying that it would take advantage of BLM and George Floyd movements. I'm sorry. But to me, that seemed natural. Like there is something about the Black Samurai that just seems like a thing. And I was showing that artwork that I drew 24 years ago. So like I had that. I don't know. It's weird to me that is the issue. I don't know. I'm really confused because I can see where DEI is being an issue, but I don't. I feel okay. Well, if you say so, I actually believe what you're saying. Yeah, he is a bit dramatic. Maybe that's what it is. But anyway, really, what I wanted to point out here was millions of gamers see that as PSN goes offline. So this is very interesting. And actually, and I can share right now, it's down. So when it comes to the gaming and social, so affected platforms, other. So if you happen to have an other, and then PS5, you might have difficulty launching games, apps, or network features. We're working to resolve the issue as soon as possible. So this happens from time to time, but it is annoying and it shouldn't. That's kind of the issue with this always online sort of thing. Let's see. Why is PlayStation Network down? Outside of updating the PlayStation Network status page with a message that the team is working to resolve the issue as soon as possible, nothing has been said about why the PlayStation Network outage is happening. So this is just one of those things where, and I've come across this where because of an outage or something, you can't play a game you planned it to play. Maybe you bought it, and you're playing it that moment. Maybe it's just your normal routine. Hey, I got off work at this time. I'm going to play. Oh, it's down, so I can't play tonight. That's kind of annoying. And I think that's what If you're someone that really likes gaming, I think that's why it's cool that there's options, PC versus PlayStation versus Xbox, because if one's down, you could be on another. That's why I think cross play or cross, I think Sony should make it when you buy God of War, you have it on any platform that they could play God of War. Because right now on PC, you can circumvent the PSN requirement. So yeah, that's interesting to think. Right now, if you are a Sony, if you're like a PlayStation only gamer and you wanted to play God of War, or one of the games that are affected by the services, you can't unless you're on PC. That's really weird if you think about it, because it's also giving people more ammunition for the requirement of the PSN account. Yeah, it's very interesting. Hopefully it gets back up. I'm not on my PlayStation a lot. It's usually if it's exclusives, for instance, Astrobot. I beat that, haven't gone back, so I haven't had to worry about it. Actually, I probably will go back because of that DLC that they're coming out with. All right, let me see what else I grabbed here before I just start, just talking about whatever, because excuse me. Yeah, not too much else. So let's just jump into the news and look at what's going on. PlayStation has put conditions on 30th anniversary PS5 Pro pre-orders in Japan, which I guess makes sense. I think Steam does that too. If you want a Steam Deck, you have to have the Steam account. I could see them doing that, especially I guess just because it's this 30th anniversary. Like, let's say someone wanted to gift someone a PlayStation, they're probably not someone that's going to actually try to get. If they would know about this, they probably have an account in some way, just wanted to, yeah, Chris saying he's also a huge grifter, and that's the interesting part. It's that line, I think, that where some people lean more into that grifter side of things, and I think he does, even though sometimes he'll bring up things that are good points. I think the race swapping of the. But see, I'm white, so I guess changing someone from Japanese to black, maybe that's why it doesn't affect me as much. I don't know. Weird stuff to talk about. I think I kind of don't care, but at the same time, this is kind of an interesting experiment in kind of just overall the philosophical side of gaming and stuff. I don't know. And as we are figuring out who we are on this pale blue dot, I don't know. Hans Zimmer releases his Dragon Age the Veilguard theme. That's pretty cool. I liked his Batman theme in Batman vs Superman. It had a little bit of Danny Elfman in there. So this is cool. You guys have probably seen this around. There's like a Lego NES, Atari in the Green Hill Zone. And this is cool. I find this stuff really fun, but at the end of the day, it's after I build it, where do I put it? And I see some people where they have where I put my Gunpla or something, right? So I could just do that. But I think if I was going to get any of them, I'd get that Sonic Green Hill Zone. I see it at Target sometimes, and I want to get it. But then it's it's a Lego thing. If it was an actual, I don't know, pixel designed something, but Lego's cool. That's the thing. Okay, Xbox research expands to work with developers. You would hope Xbox works with developers. So I guess Xbox research must be this other division I'm not too familiar with. Microsoft also looking for feedback from studios who don't develop their games for Xbox. That's really cool, though. Okay, address pain points and enhance the experience of partners across the spectrum of disciplines involved in bringing games to market. That's very smart. There's something I learned from the company I work for, my day job. And at first it seemed wow, that's a lot of bloat, where there's this very and maybe to me it's just kind of like what my wife does. There's what am I trying to say? There's an emphasis on customer experience, of always trying to get feedback from clients, right? And in my case, when I'm doing consulting work and I'm working with a client, that's that relationship. And I think that's related here to Microsoft working with developers because they're using their platforms, their tools, they're helping them use it. And so I've noticed how successful our company is, how I can learn more about the work I'm doing because we have this, again, this emphasis on how is this process working for our client? Is there anything we can improve on? And that's always an emphasis. And I think that's what makes me really like working my day job a lot and all the people I work with. So I see the benefit in that. So I kind of like hearing the idea to really put a focus on the pain points, yeah, that developers are facing. The pain points. That's something again I learned through not only previous marketing jobs, my current job in consulting. It's like what's really bothering or what's really on someone's mind, and maybe they don't realize how much it's affecting their output. So and then, we heard earlier this year, and again, this is not a knock on Microsoft, but they had their inclusion group. They had a whole team that was all about inclusivity and all that, which again, that good intention. Although, that's a very interesting one because that's more of up to interpretation, I guess. But then they closed it. So they saw that there was money loss and something like that. But it looks like now they're putting money into, okay, how can we just make it easier for developers to develop for our systems? I think that's great, especially if the handheld is around the corner, which I'm hoping for. Let's see. Tekken boss Harada doesn't think a retro Tekken collection would work. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I kind of think it would, especially if it's modern and then there's the trophy/achievements where it's like, okay, I have beat the game with this character. I beat the game with this. Like, I like to keep, track of that, to go through, get all the stories. I think if they packaged it like that, people would like that because right now you can get some of them on the PSN store, but a modern collection. And that also is game preservation. Another reason why a collection works is just it's more about actually, let me tell this dude. So I'm going to save this link so I could tweet at him later and say, hey, in the name of game preservation, it's a good idea. EA vets open new studio. So that's cool to hear. Although I think I heard this one already. Or maybe not. I think there's there's probably a lot of people that have worked for EA. We hear about a lot of EA studios. Iron Mouse just beat the all-time high Twitch subscriber record. I'm not too sure. Iron Mouse is a VTuber. Interesting. I like that idea. I like that idea of having this kind of animated avatar that you can kind of use if you didn't want to be in front, especially if you're trying to play a character. That's pretty cool. Okay. I gotta think it's got a gross, but Silent Hill 2 remake is 50 gigabytes in size. I have not been hyped about this at all. I wonder if I'll play it when it drops. Oh, so there's a Like a Dragon live action. I mean, I heard about it, and I think I've even brought it up here before, not too long ago, and they've already got a trailer. Actually, I haven't looked at it. Maybe we can look at it real quick. Turned on the sound. But I wonder, okay, I already like the way it looks, the saturated colors. Yeah, a lot of different colors. That's very video gaming. So then I wonder how serious this is going to be. I wonder. And interesting, this might be a completely Japanese production, which would be pretty cool. So anyway, I don't know how serious this is going to be or how it's going to be. That's one interesting thing about the series when I would play it, and I've never latest I've gotten actually was Light Dragon, the one that came out in January. It was the furthest I got into any of these, and it was cool. Lots and lots of story, which I think maybe would blend better to it being a TV show. Anyway, a lot going on here. It looks neat, actually. I would totally watch that. Okay, Rogue New Type. Silent Hill 2 is one of the best Silent Hill games. Not sure about the remake, though. Cool. Do you plan on playing it? Because I know I've played them in the past. The sad thing is I barely remember them. So that's why I'm kind of like interested in playing the remake. Anyway, that Yakuza looks cool. Let's see. I guess some more context around the show. Again, like it's funny. I look at Outlaws. I look at Shadows. I am very interested in both of these games, and Outlaws has been great. And I'm so glad they delayed Assassin's Creed, and that in its place, Outlaws is getting some badass patches and updates and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, this is good news for the gamers. So really cool. Zoocosis looks interesting. I don't think I'll play it, but it's like you're in the zoo with all these crazy, like, mutated animals, zoo animals, and all that. Okay, Starfield Shattered Space expansion launches alongside a new title update. I couldn't get into Starfield. I know some people did. Yesterday, I was watching Luke Stevens play this expansion, and it seemed too interesting. Let's see, anything else? Some of this stuff we already know. Oh, this is cool. Roguelike first-person shooter Starship Troopers Continuum, starring Johnny Rico on VR, right? Same month as Extermination gets out of early access and drops its single-player campaign, starring Johnny Rico, both games voiced by Casper Van Dien, and they are stories that are canon with the Starship Troopers universe. So I'm excited about it. It's so crazy. The VR game's coming out this month. So Gundam in a couple days, Silver Phantom. I'm excited about that because it's going to have a story in the UC timeline plus some video gaming stuff. And then we're getting an Aliens VR game. And I got the MetaQuest 3 recently, so I'm all in on this. Batman Arkham is coming. And yeah, Gundam, Aliens, Starship Troopers, Batman. Like, sign me up. That's and the VR is very fun. I will say though that I can't do it for too long. And it might be, I'm thinking about it, might be when I'm doing stuff that requires standing. Because thinking back, the stuff where I have to sit actually took too long, or it would be the reverse where when I took off the headset, then I'd be sick. So Star Wars Squadrons and Wipeout on PlayStation, both of those I would play in VR sitting down. And I remember when I would take it off, then I'd feel sick. But when I'm playing like Half-Life Alyx or the Jurassic Park game, that's actually pretty cool, where you're like trying to survive, the dinosaurs, I would just get sick while playing it because I'm standing up, moving around, and it takes some time. And that's what's really interesting because my youngest had played a lot. He hasn't done it that much recently, but used to play a lot of Quest 2 VR, and he wouldn't get sick. But I wonder if that's more of being younger and kind of acclimating yourselves. It reminds me of, sometimes I remember my dad when he would help me get into video games because he thought it was cool too. But as they went into 3D, my dad didn't necessarily play a lot of 3D games because it made him sick. In fact, when my wife is watching me play a game that's 3D, and because I play like a complete badass, when I'm playing games, I'm always like moving so fast to do crazy stuff. My wife can't watch. It was funny. She was watching me the other day because I was playing Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Okay, another good reason for me to play 2D Castlevania games because I think, what was it? I was in my room and she came to hang out and she was like, "Oh, this looks like Mickey." Now, why did she say that? Because last year on the Switch, a game called Disney Illusion Island came out, and it was a Metroidvania. And I was like, okay, let me get this, and it's co-op, and I can have my wife play. My wife actually played through it more than me. We played a lot together, and I feel bad. It's really hard to play a platforming 2D Metroidvania with people that are on the opposite ends of the video game spectrum. Because there's a lot of times where I'd be frustrated. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just, okay. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you can continue playing. Do it your way, and not that it's her fault at all. We're completely different types of gamers anyway. And she's really not. She'll just play games sometimes for fun. But I remember she's watching me play Dawn of Sorrow, and it shows the map, and she's like, oh, that looks like Mickey. And I was just like showing her, and it was kind of fun because she was helping with some of the puzzles. Like there's in Dawn of Sorrow, it's a little more puzzle heavy. And yeah, that was good times. Just got a little anecdote. Yeah, we're getting near the end here, but I'm gonna see if there's anything else that's interesting. I really feel like today was a super boring episode. That looks pretty neat. It looks like Fortnite. Future trash? I don't know what's going on there. Valve eliminates Steam's arbitration clause in new update. We'll go directly to court if resolution is found through customer support. That's pretty interesting. To be honest, I don't know the implications of this. I just know that it's not like I'm going to stop using Steam. I don't know. I wonder what would get me to stop using it. If there was like a random lottery that you'd be picked to be beheaded, then maybe I won't use Steam. Death Stranding 2, only 30 to 40% complete, says Hideo Kojima. Yeah, take your time. Take your time, because I want to beat Metal Gear Solid 5 and Death Stranding. Or at least play enough of Death Stranding. That's the thing. I did play a little bit of it, and I just, if I'm not mistaken, I just remember the beginning, it was just nothing was going on, and I think I just stopped. I don't know. We get Rogue New Type is saying that he's going to play Silent Hill 2 is the most psychological of the series. That's cool. I think that is a unique mark to be able to hit in a game. I think Spec Ops: The Line did a good job with that, even though not like necessarily as scary as Silent Hill. GTA 5 top sales charts ahead of Star Wars Outlaws. That's another interesting thing I just considered with how much really Outlaws plays like GTA. It really does. And I think that's the one thing that wasn't really explained too much, just because like how you could just cause havoc somewhere, get a wanted level really high, ride around being chased, and then like that kind of stuff happens. But like I think as much, I think there's a little bit, and it's unfortunate of, the Star Wars brand not being as interesting anymore. And this, if you're going to play an open world game, play GTA 5, because everyone else is playing it. That's the rub, right? All right, I think that's it, because some of this news is from yesterday. Yeah, in fact, at like 10:30 in the morning. So I probably hit enough there. Wow, what a boring day for stuff. Oh, the dog has joined me, Fluffy, waiting for mom to come back home. Yeah, so I'm gonna head back out, head to work. This was all fun, guys. Hopefully tomorrow's episode will have more interesting stuff going on. I almost had it lined up where I was just I'll play a game sometimes if there's really nothing going on. But anyway, I'll have a good one. We'll talk later.